Not every day you have a pair of dead stock 1985 Air Jordan 1 Chicagos. Back in '85, this shoe retailed for 65 bucks, and in fact, the shoe went on sale the very next year for $14.99. Now, the purpose of today's video is one of two things. One, we wanted to give you the opportunity to win a pair of 2022 Lost and Found Air Jordan 1 Chicagos. All you have to do is one, subscribe to the channel. Two, there's gonna be a link down below. Scroll down there and give Courtside NC a follow. And the third step is comment down below your shoe size so we know what size to hook you up with. And without further ado, let's head over to Courtside NC and let's take a look at these sneakers. As you can tell in today's video, we have a comparison of the upcoming Air Jordan 1 Lost and Found, the dead stock pair of the 1985 Chicago Air Jordan 1s. And you can get a good look at it there. Now, if you would like to see this pair, we're at Courtside NC in Raleigh, North Carolina at Crabtree Valley Mall. This shoe is always on display, so feel free to come in the store and check it out. But without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get into the details and compare this dead stock 85 Jordan 1 to the upcoming Lost and Found. Now, the first thing when comparing these two sneakers is one, the height on the 85 is slightly taller than what we see on the standard Air Jordan 1 in 2022. While we're up there on the top portion of the sneakers, let's talk about the sock liners and explain in how good of shape this 85 Air Jordan 1 is. And if you look at Air Jordan 1s from 1985 on the internet, there are tons and tons out there that are peeling, they're cracked. And yes, that's where Nike and Jordan Brand drew the inspiration on the Lost and Found. So we have that cracked ankle collar that is all around the Wings logo. And the only portion on the 85 Chicago here that is cracking is just slightly on the inside where they probably rested in a box for a very, very long time. And just over time, it started to slightly crack. But you can tell if you gently touch the ankle collar on this 85 Air Jordan 1 that it's very, very fragile, but they've taken extremely good precautions with this sneaker and preserved it really, really well. Now, from the top of the sneakers, let's move down on the heels of these sneakers and let's talk about the heel slant. And if you're a sneakerhead or fans of the Air Jordan 1, you know that you have the hourglass shape in 2022 where it slopes. It just has a nice, curve to it, is what we call as sneakerheads the hourglass shape. Now on this 85 Chicago, you can tell that it's more straight up and down. This is very similar to the 85 highs that Nike and Jordan Brand bring back. Now moving over to the 2022 Lost and Found, you can tell that this is more standard to what we see on all the Air Jordans in today's time, where it does have a nice curve to it, aka the hourglass shape. Now that's one little detail that we did notice there. Now moving on to the materials, the white leather that we do get on the medials, you can tell on the 85 that it's smooth, and all in all, it's pretty much of a pure white, kind of true to the original color. And moving over to the Lost and Found, we do get a pure white, but this time we get a cracked leather, and this cracked leather is pretty smooth. It just kind of does have, I'd say, just small little minor cracks. Here we have comparisons of the toe box from the Lost and Found, and moving over to the next here, we have toe box images of the 85 Chicago, and it's very easy to tell the differences in the leather. Now, one other difference that we did notice is actually the shades of red that we do get equipped on both of the overlays of the Air Jordan 1 85 and also the Air Jordan 1 Lost and Found. And in certain lightings, you might not even be able to tell the difference, but in pure white light, you can definitely tell that they're just slightly different. Now, while we're in the medial of the sneaker talking about the material, let's move over to the Nike Swooshes on the two sneakers. And on the 85, you can tell that Nike over the years, 40 years, I guess, when I think about it, they have slowly changed the Nike Swoosh just a little bit on the Air Jordan 1. And you can probably pick this up from the eye. Made the Nike Swoosh a little more modern and sleek. And that, of course, is what you see present on the 2022 Lost and Found. And the thing on both of these sneakers that is the most similar is actually the Air Jordan Wings logo. Of course, they have changed the font and the boldness of the Air Jordan Wings logo from 85 to 2022. But these are both actually raised Air Jordan Wings logo. They're embossed, not debossed, and that means that the Air Jordan Wings logo is sitting on top of the material, and then they go back and paint it afterwards. Whereas most of the Air Jordans that we get in today's age, they're actually embossed into the sneaker, so they have a slight indentation, and then they're painted, or maybe painted at the same time. And we also saw this on the Dior ones. Now, moving down to the sneaker, to the actual midsoles, of course, on the Lost and Found, we do kind of get a milky, aged midsole. And on the 85, like I said, this one has never been worn, so it's not out in everyday elements. It hasn't aged really, honestly, any at all, and it's pretty white. Moving to the bottom of the sneaker is what we call the outsole, and from the 85 there are a few little scuffs, but nothing too crazy. When we move over to the Lost and Found, this is very similar to what we saw a few years back on the Nigel Sylvester ones, the BMX rider that actually wore and scuffed up a pair of Shadow ones. They took that Shadow prototype and they put it into a colorway that he really liked to make it age distressed, and that is very similar to an outsole that we're actually going to get on this Lost and Found. Comparing the tongue tags of Nike Air on the Lost and Found here, you can tell that over the years they have made Nike Air slightly bolder. We do get both the registered trademarks for Nike and the swoosh on both of these sneakers that is original, true to original form that you see here on the 85. And you also see that exact same detail on the back of the tongues, where it's a little more bold on the 2022 Lost and Found versus the 85 Chicago. Now, when we do this Lost and Found and Air Jordan 1 Chicago 1985 comparison, it's worth noting that this is a preserved, almost prestige pair of Air Jordan 1 Chicagos from 1985. They have been kept in immaculate condition. And Nike and Jordan Brand, from what I understand, they designed the Lost and Found after a used pair of 1985 Chicagos. But I thought that it would be really cool to see how well this 85 has aged and compare it dead stock to a dead stock pair of Lost and Founds. So we would love to hear your thoughts on not only the upcoming 2022 release of the Lost and Found Chicago. Be sure to comment that down below, and also be sure to comment your shoe size. Subscribe to the channel, follow Courtside NC on Instagram, so you can have the opportunity to win a brand new pair of Air Jordan 1 Retro High OGs Lost and Found in the legendary Chicago colorway. Now that sums it up for today's episode of Sneaker Huddle. Thank you so much for tuning in to another one. Be sure to enable post notifications here, and more details on more sneaker releases coming very soon.